Yes, people, welcome back to West Ham Unofficial. I hope you are all well. We're back for another week, and it's time for the Premier League round. Actually, the last one for quite a while. Get in there from my perspective. Hope you are all well. Before we get into it, drop a like on the video, subscribe to West Ham Unofficial if you are new. Josh, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. And also, of course, Shaun is here. Shaun, how are you?
I'm all right, buddy. How are you doing?
Yeah, not bad. Not bad at all. So as I said, like and subscribe if you want. Let's see who we've got in the chat. Terry, hope you are well. Everybody else, I hope you are keeping well. First up then, a bit of a shock up in Manchester. Man City 1, Brentford 2. Josh.
Yes, certainly one that wasn't expected. I looked at the score after the game and I couldn't believe it, to be honest. I also had Ivan Toney on my bench in FPL, which is the most difficult thing ever. I thought City were nowhere near at the best. I thought, as usual, they had all the ball, but they didn't really create many chances. I thought it looked solid defensively. It needed a moment of magic for City to get them on level terms, and that did come from Foden. It was a really good finish. Apart from that, they didn't really create much, to be honest. Brentford had 2 chances in the first 5 minutes. They should have had 2. Just not to make 2 good saves. If anything, with a better team, to be honest, they definitely had the better chances. Looked like they were slowly falling away a bit before Saturday, but that's a win for the break to get them some confidence. A lot of controversial leaving Toney out of the World Cup squad and putting Wilson in instead. I probably would have put Toney. He offers something different to all the others. I think Wilson's quite injury prone as well. I'm not sure. I'm just fuming at him on the bench in Fantasy Premier League, but you know,
That's what you care about, Josh. I can tell you're fuming.
It's one of them. Arsenal 5 points clear now, so they'll be top for Christmas, which I didn't think would happen. I still think City will win it comfortably in the end, but definitely weren't at the best at the weekend. But very good win for Brentford.
No, I watched the highlights for this game. And one thing I would say, the commentator on the highlights couldn't have been more chuffed that Brentford won at the end. It was quite funny. He was ordering a cup of coffee. But you know, fair play to Brentford. Man City were far from their best, and even the commentator on there said when Foden put that in, like, you know, they've been lacking that chances, and that bit of brilliance came up, and fair play to Brentford, turned up and they got the 3 points in the end. Now, I don't really like Frank Lampard moving on, but I do feel for Everton fans that have made the trip twice in a week down to the South Coast to lose 7-1 on aggregate. I'd be livid. Bournemouth 3, Everton 0. Wow, Shaun.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's not like long ago I was praising Frank Lampard, saying I got it all wrong, didn't know it. But in the space of 3-4 weeks, look, the wheels have all come off again. I'm not really sure what's happening, to be quite honest. He's now, a lot of Everton fans are now asking for him to go. So almost that sort of tells you that they've never been properly convinced. I think they weren't really forward when he nearly took him down. Then they had that little run. So I don't really know what's going on with them. I haven't spoke to an Everton fan the last couple of weeks to put the finger on it, because it wasn't that long ago we were praising them buying Tarkowski and Cody and Onana and Iwobi in brilliant form. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I think you said 2 weeks ago, Calvert-Lewin's back fit, and so I could not tell you what's gone wrong. So I don't know. I suppose I know only one opposition Bournemouth they played twice. But you've got to give them credit. They score goals, Bournemouth. Do you know what I mean? They unlucky to lose against my lot, really. Scored 3 at home. And what did you say? That was 7 in 2 games in a week for Everton.
Well, was it 4-1 in the Carabao Cup, or am I dreaming?
Yeah, they're very unlucky to lose away to Leeds.
Yeah.
Leeds only had 4 shots on target in the game and scored all 4.
Do you think they're sort of defying the odds and shutting the pundits up, Shaun?
Yeah, of course, yeah. I seen because Facebook's like you go on there. So what do you think? Why the hell's this on my Facebook? Like these sponsored links, and it was an Everton fan page, and it reminded me of your lot a little bit, because they had the Everton lineup up, and they said this lineup shouldn't be losing to the likes of Bournemouth. Well, teams are losing to the likes of Bournemouth. Teams are losing to the likes of Fulham, and they're getting deserved wins. They're not picking up points and they're not unlucky doing like Forest won again. Look, no one's rubbish. Well, no one's brilliant, but no one's going to be the whipping boys. I don't think. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
Oh, I agree.
I don't know whether that says a lot for the league this year. That maybe the quality isn't massively high, and it's a bit of a leveler. I don't know. But the likes of Bournemouth, I think they're still looking. I think they're linked to Bielsa going there, aren't they? They've interviewed him in the last week.
Wow.
So I don't
Okay.
know what's going on there. Obviously, maybe a temporary manager don't properly fancy. I don't know. But it is, again, we always say keep an eye on clubs like Everton. They got the money. I don't think they will persevere Frank too long. Obviously, he's had some ups and downs since he's been there. I thought he's starting to do great. Wills have come off again. And Bournemouth, yeah, I think they're doing themselves a lot of credit. But if they're still interviewing coaches like Bielsa,
we all know you love Bielsa, Shaun.
He's got well, we're sitting there talking about Bournemouth. They're earning their victories. They're doing this, doing that. I just think Bielsa's the type to go in there and rip all that up. Do you know what I mean? It's like
just to bring Josh in there. Who do you think that's available at the moment? Bournemouth should go. Who do you think they should stick with Gary O'Neill?
I personally should stick with him. We've lost something like 2 games since the 9 lost Liverpool, and like the first 8 since he come in, they didn't lose. So I'm really not sure. But it's always, if this financial takeover is going through, new owners, they always want to get their own manager in. I did see that on Friday. It was breaking on Sky Sports that they were in talks. I haven't heard anything since. But no, I don't think the players are suited for it as well. We've got keep players like Kiefer Moore, more hold up players. Not really sure it's super outside. I really can't see it working. I'm not sure why they wouldn't just stick with this fella.
It could clubs like this. It could also be a case he doesn't really want the job.
Yeah.
So he's a very young coach. Is he even 40 yet? I don't know. He's not very old, is he? He has. He might talk a good game, saying he's looking after the team, but there's times and places when these interim managers, you want to call it, actually want the proper job. Remember, Duncan Ferguson did it at Everton a few times, didn't he? He's come in. And I don't think we've ever really thought he wants the job. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it might, like Gary O'Neill, he might, I don't know, if a more experienced manager comes in, he might step back again. We've seen it.
It could be an interesting one to see their sort of manager hunt over the next month. Let's just take some of these comments. There's plenty of them before we move on. Simon, good evening. After unpopular demand, I'm back. I can't lie. A popular chant going around the around the playground this afternoon was you're going down with the West Ham towards Chelsea, Simon. I'm not going to add any more to that, but Clive, hope you are well. They created plenty, but Brentford had Haaland man marked for 90 minutes. Simon says, sorry for my lack of support recently. It's been a crazy few weeks. Potter out. Terry, easy to say now, but Tony should have been on that player. I think it might have had that betting whole scandal to do with it as well. I'm not sure whether that had anything to do with it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It might be a bit of a dodgy situation there. Grandad says, Jake, we could do a swap. We'll take Moisey and you could take Frank Lampard. Absolutely not. No thanks.
No. Everyone want to go backwards today.
Let's have a look here. Yeah, so Clive says Tony is under investigation for betting and also plays for Brentford, not a big club. Doesn't fit into Southgate's philosophy, perhaps. Cyber, hi, did you like the cast? Thank you very much for sending them through, Cyber. Very, very nice. Yeah, that definitely played a part, I think. Yeah. Let's have a look here. I think they will preserve with Frank. Who knows? Tuchel, could he be? Well, I mean, he's not coming to West Ham. He's certainly not going to Everton. So don't think that's on, Simon. Good evening, you most unhappy people. Really, really looking forward to the World Cup now and the new season next month for sure. Right, let's fire through some games very, very quickly. Next up, Liverpool 3, Southampton 1. Josh.
Yeah, I saw this was again quite a mad game. Like 10 minutes in, there was 2 goals. I think Liverpool scored early. I'm pretty sure it's Firmino, and Southampton got one straight after, and then Darwin Núñez ended up getting 2, and they won comfortably in the end. But again, it was quite a strange appointment from Southampton. I thought getting this fella, it's a huge risk. I think I'm sure he was at Luton initially, then he left when they were in like League One, then he left to go to Stoke in the Championship, didn't work out, ended up back there, and now he's left him again and going into the Premier League. He's never managed in the Premier League before, I don't think, so it's a bit of a risk, but not sure. Again, I think he's quite a young manager. I'm not sure. I might just be saying something I'm not sure about there, but I think he's only been around the last few years. I'm really not sure if it's going to work. I think they're definitely one of the teams who are going to be in a fight for relegation this season, especially when teams like Fulham and Bournemouth are doing quite well. And even Forest are starting to get a few points on the board now. So I think they're definitely going to be a team who's down it. They've got quite a young team. They're crying out for a striker, with Che Adams and Adam Armstrong being the outlets up front. They've just got, I think they've got the average age is one of the youngest in the league. I think it's worrying for them. They've not spent much money. They've just spent it on, as I keep saying, a few kids in the summer. I think they've got a few from Man City. They got that one from Chelsea last season who's done all right. But got quite a few injury-prone players as well. I think definitely be worried for them this season. Liverpool seem to slowly be coming back as well. I think they're up to 6th or 5th now. But it's incredibly tight. I think there's like 5 points separating 6th to 13th. So it is ridiculously tight. I think we're only about 3 or 4 points off them. So it's really tight. Nunes, another one who seems to be picking up as well. I still don't think you can compare him to people like Haaland, like all the biased Liverpool fans say. No, that's just going too far. But no, I think Liverpool, they've won a couple on the bounce now, 2 or 3 on the bounce, slowly getting back there. Maybe they can end up getting top 4 or not, I'm not sure. But yeah, slowly coming back now, and it's good. Well, it's a break now, so it doesn't mean anything. But I think our first game back is Liverpool at home on Boxing Day. So not looking forward to that too much, but we'll see.
Yeah, funny old game. It seems to be. It's always interesting when Liverpool play Southampton. Of course, it used to be Southampton. You know, they used to get good players and just ship them off to Liverpool. But yeah, Liverpool picking up 3 points there. Let's take some more of your comments. Right then, Josh, address it with your strong Scouse accent. Why are you a Villa fan?
Right, I'll get asked this a lot in school as well. I get a lot of stick for this. My dad's a Brummie. He's from Birmingham, so that's why I support Villa. I've been brought up in Liverpool. I am a Scouser, but it's my dad who's from Birmingham, so that's why I support them.
There we go. So that's answered all of your questions. And let's move on to something very, very depressing. West Ham 0, Leicester City 2. It's an expected result, as you told me the other day, Shaun. And yeah, it's just rinse and repeat, really. Poor defending from Kara down that right hand side just gets exploited every single week, I'm afraid. Harvey Barnes just gave him the absolute roasting of the century every time we got down there. I thought poor defending in the box, and then we're 1-0 down after 8 minutes, which is never a good start. You know, we keep going with this. Let's just sit back and not really do much in the first half, and then try and give it half a go in the second half. We did it again. I'm afraid, and there's no point doing that. Just sitting off and not really waking up to the second half and being 1-0 down. And to be fair, we were lucky to be that at half time with the penalty. It was a good save from Fabianski. I didn't think it was a particularly good penalty. Good save from Fabianski though. And it was just. It is what it is, and it's just the same. My issue is, it's the same lineup. Fornals sits on the bench with 3 goals in 2 in all competitions, I think, and we're putting up the same lineup with the same tactics, expecting different results, and you can't do that in this game. You can't put out the same dross and expect different with the same, and it's just happening week after week after week. And at points, I thought we were better. To be honest with you, on Saturday, until they got their penalty, which I think knocked the sort of wind out of our sails. I thought we were actually building into it quite nicely, but that just kind of slashed that, and we just couldn't get anything in the final third. Ben Rummel was the only one trying. Paqueta's an issue there, I'm afraid. He's not really done much till he's came, and there's no pace there. And I don't think it's the players. I think, well, the players have got to take a big proportion of this blame here, I think, because they are good players, whether they're played in the right system or not. They've still got they've still got to put the work in, which some of them aren't doing. And I think the tactics, as I said earlier, expecting different results, putting out the same tactics and team is just never going to work. And this World Cup break has come at exactly the right time for West Ham, I think. And whatever we're going to do, if we're going to sack him now, which I very highly doubt, because he's a yes man for the board. And I think the board will want to keep him until it gets extremely bad, if it gets to that. And I can't see him going anywhere, and we've just got to stick with it. And hopefully he's going to have a long, hard think over the next month, and hopefully we can come back with just an easy game against Arsenal, top of the league away, on Boxing Day. Shaun?
I thought this is probably one of the worst teams you could have played this weekend. I think was that 5 clean sheets in a row for Leicester? Am I right in saying that?
Yeah.
They're building up ahead of steam. Even when they're letting hatfuls in, I think we beat them 6-2. They're still quite lethal going forward. We discuss West Ham every week. What's going wrong? I think your problem is just massive lack of energy. I don't know what it's like in the stadium. You said about Paqueta. I've told you week after week, even before you signed him, brilliant on the ball. He's not a very fast Brazilian. He's got great feet. You're not going to get a massive shift out of him. Did Skamaka start up front in this one? I don't know which striker he went for, to be honest.
Yeah, I think he did. It was that memorable. I forgot it.
Again, he's talented, but you're not going to get energy out of him. I know I have my snobby comment to say about players bought from the Championship. They can be brilliant, but I think because they come up through that system, when the team's lacking form, they probably go with it. Do you know what I mean? They're not the sort of player that's going to pull their socks up and drag a team along. I think one of your best things you had about your team I think you're going to agree in the last couple of years was the partnership in centre midfield. I think Souček, as you know, just not getting on the ball and doing a lot with it. I think Rice, you all love Rice, but I think it's right that he suffers a little bit with fitness, whether that's he's got an illness, hasn't he? So don't hold me to he's got some sort of thing which means he has to rest sometimes. But at the end of the day, he's not ever going to be a lot more than a holding midfielder. So if he's going to be a holding midfielder, taking the ball off the centre half, and Souček's not really involved in the play, that's a gaping hole in the midfield. The only way you address that in the summer is getting that young lad from Swansea, Flint Downs. Do you know what I mean? So it's a worrying big lot of flatness, lack of energy. If you look at the teams, not even the teams that are doing well, the teams that are getting results, whether they deserve them or not, they look like they've got a bit more energy about them. Do you know what I mean? A bit more chasing off the ball, with the ball. I know Ben Rama's had a few good games, but I think he tore a team to pieces a few times. Man United, I've seen the last 10 minutes or something like that. But again, when you lose the ball with the hassling, I'm not filling you with a lot of hope, I know. But the thing is, about Moyes going, I don't even know if that's the answer, because you get this with a lot of teams. And I think some pundits have been saying about Liverpool as well, about this Klopp 7-year cycle. You get, and to be at Tottenham and Pochettino, a side, if it's not refreshing enough, it can get very, very stale automatically. And there's not a magic fix. It's not going to, like you're saying, he's picking the same bodies every week, not trying anything. As a fan, that's what you want, but there's probably a strong chance he can mix it up, go with 3 midfield, chuck Lanzini, Fornell, Ben Ram, anywhere you want, and the outcome might be just the same. And it's frustrating, but we do see it with teams. Like, I think, didn't you go like about 3 windows without signing anyone or something like that? And then all of a sudden, this window, you chuck 200 million in it. Let's be honest. Looking back, you think, were they the right types? So
I think what a lot of people have pointed the finger at this week as well, and Josh, this links to you. Is you look at Villa, it's a miracle they sack an underperforming manager, they get somebody new in, and it all seems hunky dory. We'll talk about Villa a little bit later, but what do you think West Ham should do, Josh? Obviously going through that transition now, having Emery there.
I think with West Ham, I think with like Moyes, I think it's a bit like he spent that money on the players like Paqueta, Skamaka. I think Moyes is better if you give him about 20-25 million and sign like a few championship, like someone like Bowen. Moyes is better like on a like when he's got like a small budget and he can get the best out of like them type of players who are like unknown. I think when you give Moyes that money and you sign players like Skamaka and Paqueta, it's a bit like they're not. I know what saying every, but they're not Moy signs. He doesn't know how to use it. He's never really been given that money to spend before. He doesn't know like how to use it.
I think the sort of
manager. I think it's a bit like players like Bowen who cost about not much at all. I think he's better budgeting for players like that, and that's how you get the best out of them. Because when you nearly got top 4 the other year, that squad was not great. The strength and depth was awful, and I think Moyes does better with a team like that than when you spend £200 million or whatever you spent in the summer. They're my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I think just to sort of final point on West Ham, the thing I find staggering about it is we spoke to Barry Siltman last week and he confirmed that Moyes signed off for Paqueta, which is baffling me. The fact is that why aren't we playing a system where we're going to get Paqueta and Scamacca working together? It's baffling me.
You signed Paqueta 3 months before World Cup, and he was already in the Brazil squad. He more or less had his place cemented in the squad. And South Americans, if their World Cup's coming, they can put their slippers on for a few months knowing that they're in the squad. So that's quite possible. He might come good later in the season when he wants to showboat a little bit. But like I said, I think you're just lacking. You're very stale. You're very, very stale. I don't think you'll go down, but there's not many more teams who look more stale. Do you know what I mean?
No, I agree.
And that is concerning for you. I think we said we're going to go right back to the beginning of the season. I didn't see that West Ham being this poor, to be honest. But remember I come on after the West Ham Tottenham game, it was a 1-0, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And you were laughing at me when I said, we're only about 5 games in and we made quite a good start. I said, that's the poorest football match we've been involved in. Tottenham as well. We're both poor. And you all looked a bit shocked. And I said, that was a poor game of football. And I think it's sort of carried on. I know Tottenham haven't been world beaters, but it's carried on a little bit like that for West Ham since then. Do you know what I mean? We've had a few good half hours. I don't know the answer. I think if you sack Moyes, you've got to have someone lined up.
Yeah.
And I can't think of anyone. You've got to be realistic as well. I think the lad that Emery might not have been a bad shout, but I think this is a little bit caused by lack of steady freshening up over windows. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you got a Tottenham. I mean, we made the same mistake with Pochettino. We got no one in for 3 windows in a row, and then somehow we fluked it to the Champions League final, and that papered over massive cracks. A bit like you last year. That cup run would have papered over some huge cracks.
No, it did. Yeah, it
And
did.
every club, even if it's just 1 in, 1 out, or 2 in, 2 out, you have to freshen up. Like Tottenham, we're still struggling to get rid of players now. We spent $4 million 5 years. Teams of squads have got to keep fresh. Otherwise, fresh new squads like Forest, who signed 20 players, or Brentford the last couple of seasons, or Bournemouth come up. No one expected them to get more than 10 points. Because they're fresh teams with lots of energy, they can pick apart these old, stale, dated teams where players are just sort of got their feet under the carpet a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Under the rug.
Yeah.
I don't know how you get around it. I do think Moyes is a dated sort of coach, but I don't think it's necessarily his fault. Unless, of course, some coaches say, no, I don't want anyone. So if he was saying that, because some coaches do go to the board and say, I'm happy unless we strengthen the squad. Well, how long is it? Like Fornells, Lanzini, I could be wrong. I feel like the likes of those two have been at the club long enough and not good enough, probably. Do you know what I mean?
Well, we're soon going to find out with this sort of January transfer window where we go. We are going to move on from that, but it is interesting. Next up, Josh, Forest 1, Crystal Palace 0. Probably the unforgettable game of the weekend. I didn't really pay much attention to.
I did see a few misses. It seemed like a pretty dull game, to be honest. Apart from the penalty, another penalty. I'm not quite sure why they keep putting him on the penalties. I'm pretty sure the last few he's missed. He missed again. And in Forest, it was just one of them performances. They had to grind out, really. I think it wasn't one of them performances, like top-class performances. Just one of them relegation scrapping hard-fought relegation scrapping performances. Morgan Gibbs, I keep saying it, but I think he's by far their best player. When we played he looked like the only player on the pitch who looked like doing something. He was just, I think, head and shoulders above everyone else in that team. I think he scored again, didn't he? I think it was nearly disallowed for offside. He had to check again for about 5 minutes. It's just ridiculous. And eventually it got the referee said it was allowed. But no, again, it probably was the forgettable game of the weekend. Palace looked like they were in a bit of form. Obviously beat West Ham last week. I think they'd won a couple before that. They were finding a bit of form, but again, right before the break, they lose as well. It has been quite a funny season, really. There's been quite, like Everton, they beat Palace 3-0 a few weeks back. Looked like they were on the way up. Now they've lost 2 or 3 on the bounce, and it's been quite a funny season, to be honest. But I think this is definitely the forgettable game of the weekend. But Forest slowly starting to pick up a few more points now.
Yeah. There's so many sides that are doing different things. You've got Everton who were dropping back into a bad run of form. Forest are on the rise. There's so many different teams doing different things. It's certainly a struggle to keep up. Gary, hope you are well, close. As I went to our game against Forest, they played well, and beating Palace was no surprise to me. Yeah, well, it's no surprise to me whatever team beats who this season, because it's been pretty crazy. Next up then, Shaun. I can't lie, it was probably the third or fourth biggest cheer around London Stadium at half time when it was Spurs 1, Leeds 2. Finished up Spurs 4, Leeds 3. I mean, it's just a Leeds game, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's a Tottenham game at the moment. We
Yeah.
conceding lots, late winners. Do you know what I mean? It's
scraping through.
Yeah, I chatted to my lad's coach, he's a Tottenham fan. Yes, I said at the moment we're either really poor or scoring goals at the death to win games, which as a fan is always exciting. I think there's been a bit of controversy with the first goal when Medier got bundled into the goal, but then again Bentancur got fouled. So you can discuss swings and roundabouts.
I don't think that Meslier goals were fouled, to be honest. I think that's weak goalkeeping, to be honest.
Well, I think he's probably one of the physically weakest keepers in the league, and knowing we got a proper set piece coach from Italy who's worked wonders, would not surprise me if they had a little target on him. Yeah. So I would not be surprised if a little bump into the goal wasn't pre-planned. But Bentancur was fouled, so let's take off 2. That's 3-2. Do you know what I mean? At the moment, I think it sounds a bit soft, but Conte and players have said that they are shattered, basically, after playing Champions League. All of our Champions League games in the group have been a bit like cup finals. We haven't been able to take our foot off the pedal. And then you go again the weekend. So a few of them do look knackered. And I reckon probably 4 or 5 dragged us up to the line. From a fan perspective, I'm glad of the break, really, because a few of them need the break. I think the schedule's been a bit much. Obviously, we had the League Cup in the week. I watched it and I thought we didn't even look like a club that wanted to go through. I just didn't see it. The next round of that game of that cup is 2 days after the World Cup final, I believe. So,
and
I think it's 10. I think there's 10 Premier League sides out. So I'm not convinced a lot of the clubs wanted it, but then that's a different conversation altogether.
At the Man City now.
You can go back to Brentford. Like, I mean, they got knocked out the Gillingham, and then beat Man City. So you're not telling me the same effort and attitude turned up in both games there. But yeah, we're the same old. We're not good enough at the back at the moment. We can look world class going forward. What I will say, last month, 5 weeks, we've missed Kulusevski because he's destined for the very, very top. I wouldn't swap him for many people in the league. That's for definite. And Bentancur, the other January signing as well. He's been as good as any centre midfielder in the league this season. He's chipping in the energy. He's got. I said to you about energy. Do you know what I mean, earlier? Whether people like Conte's style or not, I actually don't mind it at all. I think sometimes we can look flat. When we go forward, we can look brilliant. The centre midfielders at Tottenham, they've got to have maximum fitness, maximum energy, or you're getting dropped. It's as simple as that. You've got to box it, and that's what Højbjerg and Bentancur do. But the chase of top 4 is on. I think 5 or 6 clubs will probably improve out in the new year. Then again, the World Cup could kill a few more off. You just don't know. So it's so up in the air. We don't know what's going to happen. But
Yeah.
I think Conte wants another 2 or 3 in, like he did last January. If we can get another 2 or 3 in, and we're in the last 16 of the Champions League, I think we can push on. Because going forward, we are very good at times. We create more chances than most, score more goals in the league than most. Not necessarily this season. I mean, in 2022, we can look very poor at the back, but then, and it's not always a counter-attack style because the possession stats aren't bad. When we start passing it around, we can be very, very good and carve teams to pieces.
The
But
XG is good, Shaun. Don't forget the old
it is
XG.
actually, it is good, but we can at the moment we can look terrible at the back, and that's one of the things Conte did when he come in. We do need defenders. Romero's missed a month, whether people believe he's injured or not, because he was walking out on the training pitch for Argentina this morning. But we do need defenders. But Conte come in, used the defenders he had, and got a lot out of them. And they're saying about Eric Tyre has had a brilliant year until we got the England recall, which is in end of September, I think it was.
Yeah.
Ever since he's had the recall, he's been dreadful. So
he's been back to himself, Shaun. The sort of honeymoon period's over. Anyway.
Yeah, but it's no secret they want a right wing back, centre back, and probably never forward. But bringing even Richarlison playing an hour, we've missed it. Do you know what I mean? We missed him, Kulusevski. Totally different side when we got more options. But the squad's got to be a little bit stronger. But put it this way: if you offered me where we are now, 4th, I think we're about 5 points ahead on last season, and about 12 goals ahead. And last 16 in the Champions League, I'd have snapped your hand off.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Let's move on. Next up, Newcastle just keep on going, Josh. Newcastle 1, Chelsea 0.
Yeah, they're just really, I'm not sure how many wins on the front it is now, but they're just, people are saying they're going to fall off eventually. Well, they're still going. Obviously, they're going to be in the top 3 at Christmas. Again, it was just, they completely dominated Chelsea, to be honest. They created far more chances. They had much more chances and they had better chances. Chelsea never really looked a threat at all. I think Willock it was with the goal, wasn't it? Almiron actually went a game without scoring. But no, it's Chelsea. I think they're down to about 8th or 9th now. They're in quite a big crisis. It's not looking good for them. A few fans are already saying Potter out. It's certainly not looking good for them.
Newcastle haven't lost since the end of August.
They ran, and that was to Liverpool, wasn't it? I think that's been the only loss, hasn't it?
Yeah,
and they shouldn't have even lost that. It was a dodge at last minute goal, and I think Newcastle had one disallowed in that one as well. But no, they are 3rd in the league, I think. Not too far off Arsenal and City, but I do think they have a game in hand. Whether they can stay around there, I'm not sure, but I think they're definitely in for a shout at getting top 6. I'm not sure about top 4, but I think top 6, they're definitely good enough. But this is the mad thing, right? The squad isn't even that good on paper. They've got players like Longstaff, Shea, Dan Burn, players like that in the starting 11 who are like average Premier League players, and Eddie Howe still like getting a tune out of them. I said it last week, but that's something that Gerrard couldn't do. Not one of our players that was like average. He didn't make any of them look good. Even some of the better players just look worse, to be honest. I think he's already won manager of the season, to be honest, for me, no matter who wins the league. It's just another really good performance from Newcastle, and yeah, they keep on going.
Yeah, for sure. I'll take some of your comments. I think Spurs will finish 4th. James says, is it just me, or is Josh looking a little more smug tonight? Yeah, he is. And we haven't even talked about Villa yet. Josh definitely the chirpier of the Claret and Blues tonight. Gosh, Jake badly needs a World Cup break. So in what way do I look knackered? Well, I got 2 days getting smashed in Manchester and in under 48 hours. So yeah, there's no what's the phrase? There's no break for the whatever. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I've balls that out, but
no rest for the wicked. Is that what you're going?
That's it. That's for no rest for the wicked. That's what we want. Anyway, moving on to your favourite team title contenders, Shaun. Wolves, no Arsenal 2. They keep rolling.
Yeah, keep going. This result obviously helped West Ham out as well. took points off of Wolves. Yeah, they're just doing their job. I can't fault Arsenal really. I'm not. I keep saying it's a strange season. I don't watch them and think they're going to win the league, but then again, they might. You just don't know. They don't look like to me like a team who'd normally go and win it visually. I think Wolves were very unlucky not getting a penalty. Did you see that one? I think he was fouled. Well, you know when it should be a penalty when former refs try to explain it and they doesn't really make sense. Do you know what I mean? I think it was it was a foul, wasn't it? And they said the flag. No, he wasn't flagged offside, but then they said, "Oh, if it would have been given, it would have gone back." And so stop talk. If you got to talk too much to explain your decision, you're getting it wrong, aren't you? So, but yeah, it was Odegaard got a couple, didn't he? Am I right saying that? One thing I did see about Arsenal, which hasn't shocked me at all, is how Gabriel Jesus' stats have gone down the pan pretty severely. Like
breaking seats, isn't he?
Yeah, well, when they signed him, I called him the seat breaker, didn't I? Because he missed loads, and I think his XG is really in the negative now. What goals he should be scoring? I think he's gone 8 or 9 of that goal. He's a good player, and he's forced himself back.
I think Nunes has got more than Jesus now. I think.
Yeah, he might have done. I think he's a good player, and I said to City, I don't think he's a centre forward. So Arsenal might win the league with him, but when they signed him, he's going to be centre forward, blah blah blah. I thought good signing. I thought they still needed a proper out and out centre forward. No, they could still win the league with him, but he's not going to go and think Arsenal fans were getting excited, said he was going to get a golden boot and all this sort of thing.
Morgan might do a bit of work, and Ronaldo might be going there.
Yeah, well, God, you never know with that. But yeah, I can't fault Arsenal. They keep going. They go for a spell where they ride their luck, then they come out the other side like this and do a very workmanlike job. Really, they play nice football. Just have to wait and see. They're 5 points clear now, so people saying they still think Man City win the league easy. Man City are known for they can go win 20 on the spin, lose one, and win another 20 on the spin. They're the sort of side that can do that. They can go on runs and just run after run, but
they've got a big old gap there now, 5 points.
You can't give Arsenal too big a gap, or any team a big gap. But in the new year, I think I wouldn't like. I honestly couldn't even right now begin to pick you the top 4. I think the likes of Tottenham, Liverpool,
Chelsea,
probably Man United. No, Tottenham and Liverpool, I think have got the most improvement in them. If you know what I mean. I think Man United are picking up good results, and Newcastle, but I think they've got about as good as they're going to get. I think they're playing well, but I think they're peaking a little bit with how they're going. Chelsea, I don't know. They're flat. They're quite flat side, but Tottenham and Liverpool, they've both got more potential, I think, to push on than say or even push on and try and catch the top 2 above them. Do you know what I mean? Newcastle have done great. Going back to the Ivan Toney omission, saying he should have been. I think that's discrediting Callum Wilson a bit because I don't think there's a lot between the two. I think when fit, I think Callum Wilson's goal scoring record, goals per game, is not far away from Harry Kane's.
He does go under the radar a bit because he's always injured.
He's done very well, and I think he is a handful. I think the squad that Southgate has gone for, the balance, probably only allowed one other out and out centre forward. And I think Southgate dismissed it a bit, but I think the FA probably give him a little nudge as well and said we don't really want to be sending a player under investigation. The last thing they want is sending a player under investigation, come back in January, and then they ban him for 5 games, whatever they're going to do. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it's just bang on Ivan Toney. Callum Wilson's been brilliant. I wasn't totally against the decision, and I think there's only probably room for Kane or one other out and out forward. The formation we're playing, to be honest.
Well, there we go. Peter, no football to watch for 6 weeks. Hurrah, indeed. Comment of the night, as you always do, Peter. Arsenal could beat us with their women's team on Boxing Day. We will be watching the Arsenal game from a sun lounger in Madeira. That'll be a piece of cake. You're on fire tonight, Peter. You're on fire tonight. Maybe with a bit of Madeira cake in there as well. Tottenham don't have the potential. Shaun, stop lying. Top will be Arsenal, City, Liverpool, and Man United. So I'm just going to drop that in there because otherwise we will be here all night. Right then, let's talk about Villa, shall we? Brighton 1, Aston Villa 2. I quite often watch the Villa on Tour matchday vlogs, Josh, and a very happy Villa fan base at the moment.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen that one from the Brighton video that they did, but yeah, I do watch them. Been watching them for years. Anyway, onto the game. I thought the performance wasn't great, especially first half. I thought they obviously scored early. It's like 40 seconds in or something ridiculous like that. We were trying to play out from the back. It cost us in the week against United, and then it cost us again. It cost us a goal again at the weekend straight away. Martinez plays into midfield. Louise not strong enough, lose the ball, they score. And then for first half, to be honest, they controlled. We obviously we got the penalty, and Ings nearly missed that. Just to keep our hands with, just about went in down the middle. First half, I was worried, to be honest. I did think we'd lose. Second half, we did show some improvement. Obviously got the second goal to get back in front, slightly lucky, but it's about time we had a bit of luck. And then this is something I will say: if I don't care if the performance is awful, as long as we can keep hold of a lead like we could there, because we did really well holding on to that last half an hour. We sat back and shut the door on them really. But McGinn, he ended up playing as like a centre back for the last half an hour. And has honestly did quite well there, a lot better than he has been doing in midfield. So I don't care if the performance is awful, as long as we managed to see the game out like we did in Brighton. The performance wasn't pretty at all, but when you can see a game out like that, which we don't usually do, I don't really care, to be honest, in some games until we start moving up the league. I am still a bit worried about this playing out from the back thing that he likes to do. I'd say it cost us a couple of goals in the week against United, and it cost us a goal against Brighton, obviously. But I don't know. I'm not sure we have the players to do it just yet, but we'll see. I think second half, if we play like that, if we can just get in front and then hold our lead, and then hopefully start getting a bit more confident, and then start playing out from the back, then I think it'll be fine. Eventually we'll get it. But it is. You do have a few heart and mouth moments when Martinez gets the ball, and especially when you're playing someone like Brighton or United, the coaches like to do high press. It's heart goes in your mouth for a few minutes, but I think they'll get there eventually. Hopefully, it brings the right players in January. But I'm still not getting carried away. Although I look quite happy tonight, which I am. I'm still not getting too carried away because Gerrard won 4 out of his first 5 when he come in, so can't get carried away. But it is looking good for us at the moment. I'll talk a little bit very quickly about Man United in the week as well. I thought we were unlucky there as well, to be honest. The atmosphere was very good. 7,500 Villa fans. That was a very good support. Don't usually get that many, so that was good. It was a good night, but it was very frustrating. Especially once we got the second one to get back in front. I did think we'd win, and as usual.
At one stage, you were very much in with a chance, Josh. I thought.
Yeah, and I'd say I wasn't really bothered at the start, but once I saw the teams that had gone out, I felt like if we won that, I genuinely think we had a chance of winning it, because I think you've got Liverpool and Man City, and they've got to play each other. So obviously one of them is going to go out next round, and then there's not really many others. I think there's one or two more, the big 6. That's it. I think we definitely had a chance of going forward if we won that. So that's why I was a bit more gutted than I thought I'd be, especially when I thought we'd win once we were leading twice. But no, we don't usually win United away. And a few jammy goals as per usual as well. Fernandes again always scores against us. Deflected off Mings and went in. The other goal, and they literally scored like 40 seconds after our first goal as well, which was just ridiculous. I got a bit of stick for that off the United fans, as you can imagine. But no, it was really frustrating, especially when basically all their goals were deflections. A few of them, about 3 of our players slipped on the bounce, and then they scored. It's just really frustrating match. But no, it was a good night, good atmosphere. But I think if we won that, we had a chance of getting through. But yeah, good win on the weekend.
Very good. Very good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I feel your pain of going to
No
United. and being
mention of the penalty decision.
Oh, right. I'll just give
you missed it. Jeez.
I'll just give my quick thoughts on that. Anyway, I think it looked a penalty from the one angle. I'll give you that. But from the 2 other angles, it didn't look a penalty. And when they check VAR, it's meant to be clear and obvious. And it can't be clear and obvious if it's only from the one angle. I'm not saying it
Josh
wasn't.
has got his CV defending this.
I'm not saying it wasn't a penalty. It probably was. But the only reason VAR is meant to be for is to get rid of clear and obvious ones.
You've got your rule book out, Shaun.
And if they don't see it at first sight, which means then it's not clear and obvious. Basically, it only looks penalty from the one angle. From the other 2 angles, it looked like
Can you mute him? He's rattled.
the ball. So I know they usually get given, but going by the rule book, that's not a penalty.
Shaun, what you mentioned earlier on about explaining it too much and waffling on a little bit.
Jake, have you seen it or not?
I have. He kicked him, didn't he? The penalty, I'm afraid.
I've seen it from all the angles. I've been chatting to some Villa fans earlier, and I was having a laugh. And some of them are like yourself, Josh, saying, "Oh no, it's never a penalty." You can see Digne gets the ball first.
It probably was a penalty, and the referee got it wrong. But I'm just saying, all VAR is meant to be for is to get rid of the clear and obvious, and that wasn't clear and obvious. But it probably was a penalty. I'll give you that. But as I say, it's about time we had a bit of luck.
It was a shocker. It was probably the worst one of the. Jamie Carragher, your fellow scouser, was drilling it.
I heard him in the commentary.
Yeah. But yeah, it was. I'm shocked it won't give him, but there you go. Unlucky Brighton again. Do you know what I mean? Their manager, he's having a bit. I feel sorry for him a bit. He's having good wins and unlucky losses, but yeah. Villa for top half now, anyway.
I thought we were lucky. I would feel for them Brighton. I saw some Brighton forum like after the game, and they were all saying Villa were celebrating as if they won the cup or something. Like
don't bring celebration pace into the game.
But no, I can understand their frustrations. To be honest, they did absolutely batter us, especially first half and most of the second half, to be honest as well. But it wasn't a pretty performance. But as long as it should be like that for his first few games until we start moving up the league, hopefully, and then he can start playing the football that he wants to. But it wasn't convincing. But we've got a nice break now anyway, so don't have to worry for 6 weeks.
Yeah. Credit to Villa going to Brighton and picking up all 3 is not an easy thing to do. And Josh, I very much respect your defending of that. I could tell you were going to defend it because the way you started talking a bit quicker and about the clear and obvious, you were going to back it. I respect it. I love it. Very, very good. Right, let's take some cuts before we move on to the final game before the World Cup break, where I give these 2 gentlemen a nice rest. Let's take some of your comments. Josh, you going for Europe? Yes or no?
Maybe not this year. I think this year it's all about hopefully getting in the top half, which is the first time we've done that for probably about a decade. Oh, definitely, I remember Villa getting top half since I've been into football. So hopefully we can just do that, and then next year in the summer, hopefully get a few players in, then maybe get like top 8 or 7. But that was the plan with Gerrard, and that didn't really go well. But hopefully he's a bit more of an experienced manager. Obviously, he won quite a lot of Europa League, so any type of silverware I'll be thankful for. But this season, it's all about, especially after the awful start and how well some teams are doing this season, including like the likes of Newcastle. I think just it's all about like getting into the top half and then building next season, hopefully pushing on. But maybe not this season. But you never know. It's been done before, but I can't see.
I like your level-headedness. Peter says, Josh to get a job on VAR when he's older. Well, to be fair, you might restore some order into it. VAR is clear and obviously now. If we won a game, we would have a victory parade. Yeah, I forgot what winning feels like. To be honest, I don't know. I've forgotten. Anyway, moving on. to round off 16 game weeks of Premier League football, we quit it off for the World Cup. It was only going one way. A Man United last-minute winner. Shaun, take it away.
Yeah. It was the name of the lad that got the winner. I think he was.
Garnacho.
Yeah. It's what I think of Fulham. They're a good side. I'd be interested to know how many games Fulham have lost by 1 goal. Well, I swear they lose. When they lose, it's always 2-1. It might a little job for Josh that, as I know he's good on his little computer there, or he's tapping away. I swear, I reckon every week I say they're unlucky because I do like them. I like how they play. But as I said about
Josh,
United,
I'll have a look for you.
Yeah, you got about.
But to be fair,
the answer.
I do feel for them because they play both Manchester clubs and they've lost to a last-minute winner both times. That must be sickening.
Yeah. I think the Fulham manager and the Brighton manager must be both very frustrated because when they do lose, they probably don't deserve to lose, or it's for an iffy decision. Do you know what I mean? I look at them on both of them on the sideline. I think they both consider a good side, playing good football, just for some reason not getting over the line in a lot of games.
Josh, take it away.
They've lost 2-1 4 times, but they have lost by 1 goal, probably double that. I was just looking through that. They've lost like 3-2 quite a lot of times. So they are quite an unlucky team, to be fair.
Yeah, they're not walloped off, are they? Do you know what I mean? They're I think they're better. Remember Palace last year? I said about under Vieira, quite late on, he was really frustrated because they'd be winning a game and chucking it away and it's a draw or getting a good draw. I'm not saying they're chucking it away late, but they're a little bit like that. Probably deserve a little bit more than what they've got. I think they're still top half, aren't they, Fulham? So they're very not far away from being like who was up there last year. Like look on the Brent. Remember you were around sort of Brentford, weren't you? Around the top 8 last year a little bit. They're not far away from finishing that. Just a couple of performances. The midfielder is at Palhinha. Palhinha, is he Portuguese? Very good player. Very, very talented player. But back to United, I said a minute ago, I think Ten Hag's doing a good job. I'm not interested in talking about Ronaldo whatsoever, but the squad he's got there, I think he's building it. I know a few United fans and they're really happy saying he's the future, blah, blah, blah. I think this year, I don't know if there's too much more to come out of the side. I think they're playing, they might pick up steady results all the way to the line and get third place. You don't know. But I don't look at them and think they've got another few gears to go through. I think they're around about their level. I think he's got them up playing well. I think, like every big manager when they come to a big club, they need a few windows. He's only had 1 window. Do you know what I mean? I look at them and I think they're sort of ticking over where you'd expect them to. So I don't know what their plans are in January, but other big clubs will be going in. But yeah, I think it's been a good. It's not half season. It was a good third and a bit season for both of these teams, I'd say.
Yeah, so there we go. Just a couple of comments saying, Fulham and Diop looked good last night. Yeah, Diop impressed me. I thought he played well. But yeah, Fulham are a good side. I don't think they'll go down.
No, I don't think there's ever a question of it. I know a lot of people tip them to go straight back down, but as you know, it was never even my fault that they'd struggle, to be honest. I thought their managers. Their manager's too attacking. I think he knows his game. I think it's his 3rd or 4th Premier League side he's been at. Mitrovic has got a great record, even in the Premier League with attacking coaches. I think they added a couple of good ones. Like I said, it wasn't ever in my fault they struggled, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, there we go. 16 games done. Around 14 Premier League roundup shows, I think. Thank you very much, Shaun and Josh. I'm sure I'll be able to entice my expert panel back for a couple of World Cup shows in this 6-week break. But a huge thank you to you both, Shaun and Josh, for coming on and enjoy enjoy the break from football, because I certainly will. Thank you very much, Dad.
No worries, mate. See you later.
Thank you very much. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to West Ham Unofficial if you're new. Tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, we have a Q&A talk about the Football Content Awards as well before we head up there on Wednesday. Plenty of stuff still to come here on West Ham Unofficial. That's it from me. Come on, you irons. Thank you very much, Josh. Thank you very much, Shaun. And we'll catch you. They've all left me. Bye-bye. See you soon.